Ino made her debut as a boss character in the Guilty Gear series, which was already a landmark for fighting games, but she also had this win pose. And of course that made her even more popular, but since she was a boss character, is this character godlike? Well, let's find out in today's breakdown. So to start things off, let's begin with the normal attacks, because oddly enough, ArcSys never talks about the normals in their own guide. So for starters, punch. Not too bad, she actually pokes you. Does the finger have a hitbox? Hey, I think it does. The finger has a tiny hitbox around it, interesting. How about crouching punch? Ooh, the little heart. Does the heart have a hitbox? Please tell me. Not really, she snaps your thigh and that's how she gets you. A little snap on the thigh, pinch, pinch, that's how it works. Okay, not too bad. How about the kicks though? What's the kick look like? Ooh, I like the range on this. It's a bit better than the punch, but it's gonna be a bit slower. How about the, oh, look at that. Look at the crouching kick. That is not too shabby. Can you chain these? No, I don't think you can anymore, unfortunately, but look at the range, not too bad. Can it cancel? It can, and it did combo. Look at that. So if you land this, you can actually get a combo. That's pretty sick. I like it. All right, now it's time for the slash. Whoa, are you kidding me? Look at the range on this thing. Yo, can that special cancel? Wow, this thing is going to be mad whiff punishing. Oh my goodness, the neutral on this thing is crazy. This character is amazing. I love her. Okay, time for crouching slash. Yo, look at the crouching slash. That's sick. I think the range might actually be better on this, and it still combos. Wow, this character is whiff punish city. She's going to have some really good neutral. Okay, and time for the heavy slash. Okay, the range is not quite as good and the opponent slides back a little bit, but I think I can still cancel into the tree, so that's still pretty good. It's got some decent range on it still, and it hits a bit harder than the regular slash. Okay, now time for the down heavy slash. Okay, not too bad, and this thing also has a disjointed hitbox, so in other words, her explosion right there from the guitar does not have a hurtbox, so while the range might not seem that good, the explosion makes it really good for whiff punishing. And lastly, this character also has a forward heavy slash as well. Ooh, look at that, it hits twice. I didn't know that. I saw it hit earlier when I messed around, but it actually hits twice if you're really close. Can you actually combo into this? You can. Wow, I like it. Can I special cancel it? You can. Ooh, I like this move. It's only going to really be useful if you're really close to the opponent, but I think it's got a lot of potential to it. I like the forward heavy slash. And keep in mind, its hitbox is actually pretty big. You won't get both hits if the opponent's further away, but it's got a bigger hitbox than you think, so it might actually be a decent anti-air as well. I love this move. So overall, this character seems like a whiff punish monster, but here's the craziest thing about this character. She does not have a regular dash. Instead, she floats into the sky, and you may have guessed this already, but that gives her instant overheads every time she dashes. And of course those overheads can lead to combos in a lot of situations, especially if you land them really deep, and even if the opponent blocks, you can then just jump afterwards and go for another jump in. So this character has incredible air mobility. If you watch the trailer, she can do some really cool stuff from the air. Now thankfully her backdash is completely normal. That does not leave her off the ground because that would be really tough to wrap your head around. It's just a pretty standard backdash. But since the forward dash does leave her in the air, let's look at these jumping attacks. So here is jumping punch. Hey, not too bad. I like it. What's jumping kick? That's a weird one. Jumping kick is very bizarre. I bet it crosses up or something. I'm not sure if this move crosses up still. Her jump is so shallow. Okay, it does. It does cross up, and jumping punch does not, but jumping kick is a cross up. Interesting. Its hitbox is still kind of weird. I'm not a huge fan of jumping kick. It seems only for cross ups. And as you saw earlier, jumping slash is king. This is by far her best jump in my honest opinion. The range on it is godlike, and since it is a slash, it does have decent hit stun, and you can cancel it into special moves. It's sick. And I bet if you land it really late, you can also combo after it. Yeah, look at that. Now it's not going to happen as much from the dash because as you can see it does have some startup, the jumping slash, but if you land it really late, you could theoretically combo after it from a dash, but I don't see it happening very often. And finally we have the jumping heavy slash. Womp! A lot of wind up on this thing, which is why you can't do it instantly from her dash, right? You have to go a little bit further and then you'll be able to get it. So if the opponent's right around here, start of the match distance, and you want to dash into regular slash right away, but if they're further, you can actually hold it down and then go for the heavy slash. So that's already very interesting. And I guess in theory you could keep holding it down and then kick because the kick does cross up. Now she is very hard to cross up with, I'm not going to lie. There we go, that was a cross up. And as mentioned earlier, you could also jump after this for like a second overhead or a decent mix up, all that awesome stuff. This character is wild, I love her so much. Overall, I'd say her normals are really strong, so she's looking terrific so far and not terrible. She is going to be a whiff punish monster in the neutral, and as you're about to see, a lot of her special moves have tons of range on them, so she's going to be really good good at converting off any hit. So next up, it's time for the special moves. First up, we have antidepressant scale. So that's her projectile. And here's the crazy thing. Well, for one, she can do it from the air. That's pretty crazy. But the craziest thing about it is that the further it travels, the more hits it has. So check this out. It hit 5 times. Whereas if you're up close, it only hits once. And what does that mean? Well, it means if you score a knockdown and then go for this thing, look at that. It hits 3 times. And it also does that on block. So tons of lockdown with this move. It's crazy. And just to make this move even better, you can also control it by holding a direction. So if you hold down when you fire it, it goes down. If you hold up when you fire it, it goes up. So it doesn't actually track, but you as the player can control where it goes. So it's still very strong. And this projectile alone is going to make this character a scrub killer because every time she gets the knockdown, she can just cancel into this and they have to deal with you. And keep in mind, she has the instant overheads, or she has the dust, or she can go for a low. All these amazing mix-ups. This character is going to be a nightmare for beginners. And then we have Chemical Love. I adore this move because the range on it is ridiculous, which means you can land her normals at max range and still cancel into this thing and know that it's going to reach every single time. I love the range on this thing. And because the range is so crazy, you can just do it in the neutral and it's not half bad. It can whiff punish a lot of stuff, and from far away, it's really difficult for the opponent to punish you in time. However, with that in mind, do be warned because certain attacks can go under it because it does hit kind of high. So certain moves can avoid it if you do it too often. And next up, we have Stroke the Big Tree. So on top of having an amazing name, this move also has fantastic range. The heavy slash version goes a bit further, so that can be great for conversions like this. Whoop, and it launches them. Pretty cool stuff. And keep in mind, on block, the heavy slash version is plus, which means you can just go for more buttons and the opponent's going to get counter hit if they try to press any buttons. That's just amazing. This character, once again, going to be a scrub killer. The opponent's never going to know when it's their turn to attack. And finally, because Ino gets so low to the ground, she does go under certain moves. So for example, Chemical Love, she can likely go under that herself because she gets so darn low to the ground. So on top of everything I already mentioned, this attack is also going to be great for going under certain projectiles and other zoning tools of that nature. And next up, we have Sultry Performance. Now this move is actually quite complicated. For starters, it can only be done from the air, and from what I just tested, you can also charge it, which gives you a bit more damage, and the opponent bounces. So I'm wondering, can I convert off that in the corner? It doesn't seem like it. I was hoping I could, but it seems like, oh, there you go. So you can do a crouch attack. That totally works. So you could combo after this thing in the corner, and that's going to be pretty sick. And to make this move even crazier, if you press the same button when she lands the attack, she does a little short hop. So of course on block, that's going to be great for another overhead or some mix-ups, all that good stuff. Maybe even a cross-up. It's going to be insane. And what you've seen so far is just the kick version, but she actually has 3 in total. So the kick version is the sharpest angle. She goes down right in front of her, but the slash version, she goes at a much more shallow angle. So we're talking almost half the screen when you do that version. And then for the heavy slash version, she goes straight forward, kind of like a Psycho Crusher. And I think this is my personal favorite for how it looks. And look at that, it hits 3 times and she can still charge it. Ooh, look at that, 5 times. That's so sick. And as mentioned earlier, if you press a button when it lands, you get the short hop afterwards. That's so sick. I want to see how this behaves on block. Give me a second to set that up. Okay, so right now he is blocking everything. Oh, look at that. Another jump. So I can do another overhead right there. So that was like a triple overhead. You had the jumping slash, and then you had the special move. I pressed the button to get a short hop afterwards, and then you had a punch on the way down. That's so sick. This character has amazing air mobility. Now with that said, it's going to take me a lot of practice to learn which one to use in which situation, but it's pretty cool how versatile this dive kick really is. And now it's time for the supers. So first up, we have Ultimate Fortissimo. So this one, I just love the name, but it hits once on the way up, kind of like a little anti-air, and then look at that explosion afterwards. That is so sick. So I'm wondering right now, does that wall splat? I have to know. It does, and it breaks the wall. Check that out. Oh my goodness. Now keep in mind, from further away, she will still do the explosion, but you won't get the knee to land. And of course, she can also do this super from the sky, and as you just saw, she does the projectile immediately. There is no rising knee, but keep in mind, that's also why the air version is not invincible. So from the sky, the opponent can hit you right out of this super. You have no invincibility on startup. And then finally, we have Megalomania, and I love this super because it is an unblockable command grab, and look at the amazing animation. It's beautiful. In the ending, not as much, but good lord, that startup, it's so beautiful. Now keep in mind, because this move is unblockable and we are playing Guilty Gear, you got to be right in the opponent's face to make this thing land. It does not reach from even like this far away. You got to be right in their face. Otherwise, you just get the projectiles, which is still okay, but it's not what you want a lot of the time. And keep in mind that unlike the first super, Megalomania cannot be done from the air, but even so, an unblockable is really good for a super. So what what you're gonna want to do is a jump in with very little block stun, and then just cancel right into this thing when you're right next to the opponent's face. But now I want to test something, because this super has you dropping really quickly, and I'm wondering if like in the corner, because there's no pushback, can I do like the other super right after it? I can, but you don't get the unblockable because they're still in block stun. Darn, you can't throw people when they're in hit stun, so that super does not work there. That would be such a sick setup. So when it comes to Ino's supers, I would say they're just kind of average. Some characters have supers from full screen that do like way more damage and like way more block stun, some guard break. Hers are honestly pretty average. And I think that's okay because her special moves seem really good, especially at the casual level, and her normals are going to make her a footsie monster. So I think you already know my decision, but I would consider this character terrific and not at all terrible. It's going to be a bit tough to use her, especially if you're new to fighting games, because she is very unorthodox. Stuff like her multiple overheads is not going to be easy to do. It's going to require a lot of practice, but even so, I think she is going to be a mix-up monster. She is going to be a pressure monster. She's plus after a lot of stuff. And then last but not least, this amazing projectile that only gets better as it travels further across the screen. I think this is going to be what makes her really, really good. All I know for sure is I am going to enjoy this character. I am going to play her to death because she seems like a ton of fun. But let me know your thoughts on Ino in the comments section down below. And while you're down there, make sure to leave a like. It really does help the channel out a ton, and I'm trying to help Guilty Gear grow on this channel because it is an exceptional fighting game and nobody should miss their chance to play it. So I'm trying to spread the word. So if you love Guilty Gear or you love Mortal Kombat, make sure to subscribe and ring that bell. That way you never miss a future video. We are 300,000 subscribers strong, and we do have the best community on YouTube. So make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.